into one vast organization to plant the banner of freedom on the great continent of Africa. If Europe is for Europeans, then Africa is for the black people of the world. Men and women as black as I am, and even more so, had believed themselves white under West Indian order of society. I was simply an impossible man to use openly the term Negro, yet everyone beneath his breath was calling the black man a nigger. I had to decide whether to please my friends and be one of the black whites of Jamaica and be reasonably prosperous, or come out openly and help improve and protect the integrity of the black millions and suffer. I decided to do the latter. There is no future for a people who deny their past. My foreparents, my grandparents, my mother and father did not suffer and die to give me an education to oppress, slight, or discourage my people. Whatsoever education I acquired out of their sacrifice of over 300 years, I shall use for the salvation of the 400 million Negroes of the world. And the day when I forsake my people, may God Almighty say there shall be no more life for you. I unequivocally rejected the racist assumptions of much white American Christianity, namely that God had created the black man inferior and that he had intended Negroes to be a servant class. He was the wooden drawers of water. I predicated my view of man and the doctrine of Imago Dei. All men regarded were created in the image of God.
So many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long way to go, and where we'll end up, I don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting ourselves together, we're polishing up our act. If you've never been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Stand in your way. I won't try to listen to every word I say, every word I say. Ain't no stopping us now. We're running.
emerging from a cocoon into a caterpillar, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. The metamorphosis is here, it's live. Metamorphosis.
voice, word, sound and power, music, drumming, current affairs, everything to grow and lift up your mind. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, creating beauty and stimulating change from a constant supply of relevant knowledge and information.
No more youths and youths for sale. We get wise and don't decide to change their style. Bobby wrong, keep your empty promises and your crooked smile. Metamorphosis, come with your thoughts. Change your way of thinking. Metamorphosis, the change begins with you.
Black men are powerful, black men of Ethiopia, Timbuktu, Alexandria, gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt.
I, son of the Most High, Jah Rastafari.
Keep listening.
Take us away from Africa with the intention to steal our culture. The good father passed by and said, humble yourself, my children. Humble yourself, my little one. Humble yourself. Oh, my brother, E.T. Wadada.
Black man in America, grieving. President singing, Amazing Grace. What is the definition of whiteness? What is the definition of whiteness? What is it to be white?
Babylon. traveling, for we've been traveling more than 2,000 miles, more than 2,000 miles. Can't get no, shady tree, race, can't get no shady tree, race, the sun's so red hot, race, hotter than hot, race.
Yeah, the journey of the black man is so difficult, has been so hard, has been so heart-wrenching, that even when the African reaches to the highest position of political power in the greatest democracy in the world today, there is still assassination. This time of a different nature. The assassination of 9 unharmed, unprotected African people in the house of the Lord. A symbolic shot at the black family in the White House. Serious movement, serious movement. Black man time to wake up. You can't catch what him name, you catch him shot. Orchestrated assassination. A political assassination. Symbolic. Aiming at the head. In the house of the Lord God. Time for deep introspection. Let me. This is the song we were singing. Coming along. Wappa Judy wine. Wappa Judy wine. Wappa Judy wine. Wappa Judy wine. Dynasty greetings, Metamorphosis. Dr. Iman Blak, your host. Getting into stride instantly. As the movement of the African population is approaching momentous decisions, as our God Garvey said, it is only when the backs of the Africans are against the wall that the reaction will be constructive and thought out and forceful. And the events that are unfolding in the United States, in the black population, in the world of the church, is so crucial that I and I dwelling on the periphery, meaning these lands, these Caribbean lands, really on the periphery, but always impacted because of the size and the implications and the ramifications of things that happen in North America. And so that black population in North America now is under total siege. Because in the house of the Lord, in the sanctuary, where the harsh life of the plantation could be escaped from for an hour, 2 or 3. This is the sanctuary that the Africans found a little rest from the barbarity of the enslaver. And in this point in time, to see that that house can be violated to that extreme, the message is beyond religion. There is a political message. And the message is serious in America. Because the leadership is African American at the highest level. And the resistance is intensifying. A few weeks ago, the police were shooting down black people in the streets, and that was the big cry. What this bridging has done has eclipsed everything that people don't remember anymore. The party and the police brutality in the streets of America. This time now it has come into the church. And it shake up I and I, even at a distance, and force I to think seriously now about things like what is the church? I hear people speaking about the church must having security guards, but the church is supposed to be the house of God. What more security you need than the shadow of God? So it brings I to some questions that within the metamorphosis, and I want to explore. The whole nature of this institution now called the church. That it can be invaded by Satan forces. This is the house of God. This is where black people have been conditioned for hundreds of years through biblical teaching that this is the sanctuary. And to know that the sanctuary can be invaded cause certain amount of eruption in the belief system. So it forces I to question now the nature of this institution called church. We understand that the Ku Klux Klan are defining themselves now as Christians. And I have to take that serious because they've been around from the 1700s and before. So one has to begin to question the definition of what is a Christian. And what is the purpose of a church? And what is the security system? And what is the punishment? And why are we so forgiving? All of these things have come to the front. And America must look at itself, and black people now generally must begin to look all beyond religion. Because this is a fearless white youth. And this is the first time I've ever heard the media keep defining him as a white boy, a white man. They keep saying a white man did this and a white man did that. So the metamorphosis is going to explore in a very curious way. What is the definition and the reality of white? What is it to say that you are white? What does it mean? How does a person become white? Is it something that you're born white, or can you become white? And when did this term become useful? So all these things now, this brethren has opened up within thinking. This brethren who has invaded this sanctuary with his intention to start a race war. This is what he has declared. And within his intention, there are many things he did not anticipate. So, for example, now, black people now, we have to begin to re-examine our thinking about this old church, this Bible, this God and this creation, and this Satan. And how could Satan enter the house of God and wipe out the children of God and end up being protected in a bulletproof vest and being fed at Burger King? Metamorphosis. Yeah, metamorphosis. I want the ones hold on, particularly on your book of scripture. I want you to have your Bible close to you for this particular metamorphosis. And we're just going to just explore one page, and it's the front page, the first page. I want everybody to have them Bible near you, and if possible, have your dictionary and have your map, pen and paper, because introspection and internal analysis requires notations. You have to make notes that we don't lose our way in the journey inward. The other aspect that I want to look at within the metamorphosis is astronomy. I want to look beyond, just beyond the trauma that we're facing presently. Because this can be so consuming that we forget who we are. We have to look at who we really are before we actually get caught into this drama. Part of the knowledge within the earth is scientific. And that scientific knowledge, oftentimes black people, African people, we get a sort of education to let us feel that it is all, for us, it's a matter of receiving it. It has to be developed by some other people and we simply receive it. So we receive knowledge, and the knowledge coming from this source that we are told is actually supreme and superior. So science and technology coming like it kept a secret on African people because of the enslavement and the emancipation process. Most of us were directed into religion and education and sports, entertainment generally, but not really into science and technology and the things that create industry. So when we look at where the world is today with science and space research, we have to be conscious that things are happening and bodies or planets that are far away from where we are today. So obviously we're living on planet Earth, but you see, there are things taking place on distant places that black people need to know, because a lot of black people are not involved in these type of research, particularly at the action point. There may be a lot of black people involved in the research within certain countries, but within upfront presentation, those who are the astronauts and those who are the ones who do the actual journeys and travel, we don't see many black people making these traditions. So the thing about space, it almost become alien now to black people. We think of something that is alien. But if we explore our own story carefully and look at what is being discovered today, we see a very close connection between what the scientists and the astronomers are saying today and what the ancient Africans said 20,000, 30, 40,000 years ago. So what is the connection? We have the United States, we have the Soviet Union, we have Russia, and we have European nations who come under one umbrella that we could just simply call white nations. And these white nations have collectively now decided to explore space. In this exploration, they are now focusing on the planet Mars. And I have to know this now, because it's not a fantasy thing. It is happening. And tremendous amount of money and research is being directed towards these particular type of research. What is so curious about Mars? Well, presently, the Americans have satellites that are circling Mars, taking pictures. Some of them been there for months. The Europeans have the same thing. The Indians are also in that same field. They also have their own satellite traveling around Mars, taking photographs. The Americans have a vessel that is on the planet itself, driving around, doing research, collecting, taking photographs. So when black people on this planet here now locked into a struggle between righteous and unrighteous, and the battle for heaven and hell, the reality of science and technology is not connected to that struggle. And I have begin to disconnect much of our energies from this spiritual struggle created by the European stories and begin to look at science and technology. Now, within this present time, as I speak to the item, the pictures that have been coming from places like Mars have been showing pictures of things that are on Earth. And the things that are on Earth that they are now seeing on Mars are things that are primarily in Africa. And what are these African things that are now visible on a planet called Mars? We're talking about the pyramids. So pyramids have been identified on a planet that is millions of miles away from Earth. So black people in our historical consciousness now must realize that the culture, that pyramid culture, is not just a African thing and an Earth thing. Pyramid culture has been found in places like Mars. So what is that suggesting to I now? Is it that the Africans have been in Mars? Or is it that the Martians have come to Jamaica or have come to Africa? What is the connection between African civilization, pyramid culture, and the Ankh that they've also spotted on Mars? So I will not wait for them to make the connections. They have shown us the pictures. So the Ankh is an essential aspect of ancient Egyptian culture. What is the Ankh doing on Mars? What is it saying about the planet Earth? And the age of the planet Earth, and the possibility of civilization on Mars even before Earth? Thinking. Metamorphosis. Styles FM.
No sun will shine my day to day.
Metamorphosis continuing. I'm on still within the introductory phase of what is the themes of the Metamorphosis for this edition. So there's a aspect of importance on the site that is called a church that I and I will look through. What does it mean now to really go to church? Is it just a safe place anymore? Are you really being protected by the Almighty when satanic forces can enter and snuff out your life? And then, of course, the whole nature of pyramid cultures, when they explore that in its fullness. But these are things that are connected to the upliftment of meditation in a time when we're supposed to be hit at the core. This act of political assassination is supposed to strike at the very core of black people. We're supposed to feel it because we have all so much faith and belief in this system and this religious ideology. We're supposed to feel it to the bone. And white people know that. So we're going to explore even, as we said about identity, what it is now to be white. What is it that it is that we would say that these are white people? Is it really such? Are there any such thing as white people? Can people really be white? Is white a color? So you're going to look up in your dictionary almost instantly. What are the definition meanings for the word white? And I see when they're writing in the press about white people, they spell white with a capital W. And when they speak about black people, they spell black with a small b. I even see where they're writing Negro with a small n and white with a capital W. These are serious levels of mental enslavement driven by the language that we're given to use. And so other thing that I and I will look at before the program is over now is what is really happening in Haiti. Because an absolute disgrace that African people, again, can end up with this type of treatment. So when you look all around the globe, you know, it grieves Iman's soul to see the trauma that is affecting the race. It's not just a single event, you know. It's a collective set of events happening to one particular set of people. We see the Africans, them drowning out in the Mediterranean, trying to get into Europe. Yeah? We see them right here in America being shut up in the moon church and bombed out. This is not the first time bombing going on in a church in America. Like a shooting, them bombed the church in America already, you know. Black church, same way, and kill little children, you know. It's not the first time this type of terrorism going on against black people in America, you know. It's just that the things that white people have become more civilized and educated and informed. But there's something else wrong with the system. And the system is about looking into identities. What is it people put together, come together in their ideological thinking to define themselves? And what is this whiteness that seems to want to govern the planet? What is it to be white? And how is it something that you're born? Or can you adapt whiteness? Because that's a serious philosophy. And we hear about the privilege of being white. What is white privilege? Which means there's some kind of black disadvantage. If we look carefully into the thing and the foundations of these type of things and do they rest in the system of teaching, particularly Sunday school. Is this the foundation of our enslavement? Sunday school teachings that we embrace so deeply that a white Ku Klux Klan agent can step into the house of God and leg a gunshot. Make you wonder. Metamorphosis continuing. Moving into now the real first segment titled I Word, Sound and Power. Within the segment, it's all about investigation through disciplines of philosophy and psychology, anthropology, biology, all the various ologies that are available. And I use these ologies to enter the consciousness of the I, to penetrate the self, get within the dimensions of the brain and into the regions that we call the mind, and tap into the ocean that surrounds us. The egg and the sperm were manifested in an ocean, and the fetus developed in an ocean. Some people call it an amniotic sac. Within that ocean of amniotic fluid, eventually to emerge into this ocean of pure oxygen, of majority oxygen, hydrogen, helium, called air. And out of the air, the oxygen is drawn to maintain life. So, the identity issue now, that I want to speak to now, is this whole identity of people who call themselves white. What is it to be white? And so the dictionary becomes useful. But if you begin to look into the dictionary now and look up the meaning of white, 99.9% of the definitions of white are positive. Purity, cleanliness, truthful, light. So all the value system that is positive, the system that we build our values around, are now all attributed to being white. This is a definition being created by the English language. So white represents purity and cleanliness. So now we hear about this white man who was murdered 8 black people. A white man. It registers into consciousness. They don't say a man anymore. When the brother in Sweden kill off 94 kids on an island or something like that, they never say a white man. They never say a man killed 94 kids. But there's a focus now. There's an emphasis, not just from the American press, but also from the English press, from the white press generally, to maintain this consciousness that it is a white man who do it. So I'm now looking into this thing I call white. So from a definition perspective now, one of the meanings, of course, is pure and clean and so on. When you look at the level of science, they try to define white as a color. There's one particular definition that tells you that white is an achromatic color. Literally a color without a color. And it goes on to tell us that it is composed of a mixture of all the frequencies of light that is visible in the spectrum. Now, this is a subtle deception. And we have to think about this very carefully. Because in the definition of white, there's an attempt to define white as light, and to define light as white. There's an attempt to create the impression that the combined frequencies of light that come from the rainbow is white. And I reject that particular idea, because there is no white in the spectrum. There's no white in the colors of the rainbow. When you combine those frequencies, you get sunlight, but sunlight is not white. The light from the sun is natural. But the Europeans, with their racist mentality, try to give you the impression that light is white. And they project it into the philosophy now that this white light represents the truth. And of course, the light is also symbolic to the image of Jesus. So what is white? Are you born white? Or is it a identity that is socially constructed? Continue to explore. A set of people, white people, and for longer we've been calling them white people. It's about time we stop and check what is this white that we've applied to these people. Were they always white people? Because when we begin to trace their histories, we are taken into a continent called Europe. Once we begin to trace the history of white people, those people take us into the history of the Europeans. I want to begin to explore European history. 1200s, 1000 years after the death of the Jesus Christ. When you look at the story of the tribes of Europe, at that time there was no white people in Europe. The people in Europe had their ethnic tribes and ethnic identities. There were no white people in Europe. There were Saxons and Vikings and Celtics and brutes and devils and all the various tribal groups of Europeans. There were no white people. And they had their wars, tribal wars, that lasted for hundreds of years amongst themselves. So they have a tribalistic and warlike set of people. And in that tribalism, they usually end up destroying themselves. So there are no white people as far as Europeans are concerned. There is nothing about a set of people. There are Germans and Franks, and they became what they are until they develop into their separate states, until they know what they are, European people. But how did they get the title of white? All these Europeans become white people. And if you look into them history and them story, after centuries of warring against each other, they recognize that they had to cease because even them lifespan was shrinking. And there was not much development, no technology there, no culture, no history, no culture, no science, no knowledge about the planets. When their first when their biggest scientists begin to speak about the planets, them hang them money and shoot them, run them away. Galileo, Copernicus. These men became threat to the European societies because they began to speak about what the Africans and the Orientals knew for thousands of years. About what happened in the planets, the movement of the galaxies. So we have to recognize continuously that there's a link between that ancient culture and ourselves today, and our view of self. So, the notion of being white is an invention. It's an invention. It was invented by a set of people. And that invention was necessary. Because when they now began to move out to invade the lands of other people, when they began to move out of Europe to invade Africa and Asia and invade the black lands, they didn't come out under the banner of being Portuguese. They didn't come out as single tribal groups. Them created a political unity. Them created a political identity for themselves. And around that they would rally while undergoing their invasion. And this identity is what now they will begin to apply to themselves as white. And so the Europeans will begin to move under a political identity called whiteness. And with this identity will come certain privileges. And we have to explore further what are white privileges? What is whiteness? And what is the response of African people when they recognize that the church is a bastion for this whiteness in its ideology? Metamorphosis.
Styles FM, you're my number one.
Remember Styles FM on social media. View us on YouTube, Styles FM Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Styles FM. Like us on Twitter at Styles FM 961. Become a fan on Facebook. Styles FM 96.1.
Take us to work. Take us on the go. Take us wherever you go. Styles FM.
Take Styles FM with you on the go. The number for USA 213-992-4360. That's 213-992-4360. And for the United Kingdom, 033-0010-3322. That's 033-0010-3322.
Styles FM.
Catch the showdown every Saturday morning, 10:30 to 11 a.m. on Styles FM. Yes, it's smoother sailing. The showdown. Two artists goes head to head. You tell us who's your favorite. Call us on 453-1444. The showdown, 10:30 to 11 a.m.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
concept of whiteness. The concept of whiteness as a product, a construction of Europeans. When that product was exported to North America now, in other words, now when the Europeans decided to move into North America as frontier land, new land, you go into white man history, your American history, you hear about the Pilgrim Fathers now and these men now who would be fighting for political and religious freedoms in England. And they would separate themselves from the Englishmen and they would come to North America and begin to set up their own colonies. So these Europeans would also move to America with the concept now of being white. And this ideology of whiteness was manifested in the political structure of the people, political ideology. So the people at that time would call themselves WASPs, W-A-S-P. It's an acronym for White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. So whiteness is as a ideology coming into North America from the Europeans and with Europeans calling themselves now white people. And they're a WASP. And with that whiteness now comes a religion. These are the Protestants who were breaking off from the Catholics, who coming from the foundation called Christianity. So, nothing tie up into whiteness. Whiteness becomes a political ideology of European people. It also becomes a behavior. It becomes